today I have a super exciting tag video because it is the Pink Bottles Breast Cancer Awareness Tag. And this is really similar to a tag that was created by Sasha from What Are You Wearing? So I did want to credit her. However, this one was created by Terry over at Perfume Lover 80, as well as a couple other YouTubers that created it in unison with her. But Terry's the one who tagged me, so thank you very much, Terry. And I wanted to mention before we get into it that yes, it's very important to be aware of the risks of breast cancer, no matter if you're a woman or a man. However, what can be even more useful is money. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna donate 100% of any monies that I make from this video, which sadly, you know, usually isn't very much, but whatever I do make, I am going to donate it to breast cancer research, probably Susan G. Komen, but I'll do some, you know, kind of vetting and see if that's the best place to donate the money. But anyway, so because of that, please definitely watch this video, but also please share this video. I don't normally ask you guys to share my videos, but you know, do please share it, because the more people who watch, the more money that I'll get, and then that will go to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, or like I said, to another breast cancer research foundation, if there's one that maybe puts more of the funding actually into research. In addition to watching and sharing, if this is during the premiere, I do think you can use the super chat function to send money, which I will then put in the like sort of fund to donate at the end of the month. But I'm not positive if YouTube takes a chunk of that or not. And if they do, what I'd rather you do is just click on one of the links for a place to donate in the description box and donate directly there. That way 100% of your money goes to the charities. So that being said, hello to those of you who are currently in the chat for this premiere. And let's get into my pink perfume bottles, which there are a few. First up is the most pink of all pink bottles that I think I've ever seen, and that is Delina Exclusif. And I'm sure the same is true of Delina. I don't have a bottle of Delina, I never have. But Delina Exclusif comes in this very sort of feminine looking pink bottle. This is a beautiful fragrance. It lasts quite a while on the skin. I know most of you have already heard about Delina Exclusif and Delina and probably all the Parfums de Marly fragrances from the women's collection at least. But just in case you haven't heard about this before, this one mostly has rose and vanilla and lychee, but then it does also have, I think, oud in there as well, which I don't get at all. I mostly just get the rose, vanilla, and lychee, and there's some other notes as well, but this is just a fantastic fragrance. I really like Delina as well. I just slightly prefer Delina Exclusif, which is why I bought the bottle of this. I do have a decant or some decants of Delina as well though, so I like them both. But anyway, first up was Delina Exclusif. Next up, we have a much deeper pink color bottle. This one is from Xerjoff Casamorati, and it is called Gran Ballo. And this is the fragrance that I refer to as a grown-up version of Viva La Juicy, because it does have that caramelly kind of note to it. There's also some florals in here. I think maybe jasmine and gardenia. There's vanilla. There's a little bit of honeysuckle. So there's a lot of things going on. But in essence, if you've smelled Viva La Juicy, that kind of gives you an idea of the vibe of this one. But this is far more refined. It's, you know, just classier, better blended. Of course, it's higher quality. So that one, you know, if you do like Viva La Juicy, or maybe you did in your youth, but you felt like you outgrew it, then maybe try out Gran Ballo from Xerjoff. Next up is one from Guerlain, and this one is called Mon Guerlain Florale. And so, of course, it's a flanker of Mon Guerlain, and based on the name, it has the addition of floral notes that aren't in the original, I don't think. But anyway, so of course there's lavender in here because Mon Guerlains all have lavender to my knowledge. There's also some vanilla, and of course there are the floral notes, which I think include jasmine, peony, and iris, and maybe something else as well. But I kind of get something along those lines. It's definitely a floral fragrance. I don't typically go for floral fragrances, but I really like this one. And I don't know if it's because of the combination with the lavender or what, but this is my favorite version of Mon Guerlain, and it's the only one I still have. I got rid of the other one that I used to have. So again, Mon Guerlain Florale. I think it's discontinued, but I love this one. All right, and the last of my obviously pink bottles, yes, I only have 4 obviously pink bottles, is this one from Solinotes, and it's called Rose, so I bet you can guess what it smells like. It smells like rose. This is a bit of a watery rose type of fragrance. Now, you might think that when you see the name Solinotes, that these fragrances have a singular note, and that's a great assumption, but it's incorrect. I don't think that any of their fragrances actually are solo note fragrances, like singular note fragrances, but they all do feature a particular note. So in this case, it's featuring rose as the predominant note, and then there are some supporting notes as well. In this case, this is another rose lychee fragrance. I think there's also maybe some magnolia and cedarwood in here, but it's mostly rose. And because I just talked about how this is a rose lychee vanilla kind of fragrance, you might think they're similar. I don't really think they're that similar at all. This is a much more watery type of rose fragrance. I still really like it. I think it's a good value for 20 bucks, but very different and not in the same league as Delina Exclusif or Delina. So although I only have 4 obviously pink bottles, I do have 5 others that are kind of pink. So we're gonna count them for this video. That way I have a little more to show you. And the first up is this one from Jessica Simpson. It's called Fancy, and the writing on this is pink, so it's pink bottle. Anyway, it's really probably more of a gold bottle, but it's pink for this video. And this one here is a fragrance that I like to wear to bed. It's very inexpensive, so I don't feel guilty about that at all. This is about 20, 25 bucks usually at discounters or at TJ Maxx, and it's a 100 ml bottle, so great price point there. And I really like this. It's caramel, vanilla, I think there's some pear in here, some almond, and you know, some other notes I'm sure too. But those are the main things that I get from this one. It's very sweet, comforting kind of fragrance to me. And yeah, I just really enjoy that one. So that's a great kind of cheapy fragrance in my opinion. And my only like kind of truly celebrity scent, unless you count the Elizabeth and James line from the Olsen twins. Next, I have one from Mugler, and this is Angel au Croisiere, or Croisiere, I don't know how you say it, 2019 version. And the top half is pink, so it counts. Anyway, this one is a mango-based fragrance. I think there's also maybe grapefruit or some sort of citrus in there, as well as a sorbet note, which is kind of unique in a fragrance. And of course, the only thing in this that I think kind of links it to the original is the addition of patchouli. But honestly, this doesn't smell anything like the original Angel whatsoever, in my opinion, which is fine by me because I am an alien girl, not an angel girl. And you know, some people do like both, but that's pretty rare. Usually you kind of fall in one or the other. Some people just don't like Mugler, but most people seem to, I think. It seems like most people like Mugler fragrances. Anyway, that one is the Angel Croisiere 2019 version. All right, now we're getting into the ones that are somewhat questionable as to whether or not they're pink bottles, but we're counting them. Like this one, for example. Right there, kind of pink, right? And there's a little bit of pink on the top, so this is a pink bottle. Anyway, this one is from House of Sillage. It's called Wonder Woman 1984. It, I believe, is now sold out. It was limited edition. It took a long time to sell out, so maybe you got one. But anyway, this one is my favorite House of Sillage. In fact, I've decluttered all but 3 now. I was up to 6 at one point, and now I have 3. But this one I do really, really like. It has Divana in it, which I'm not super familiar with, although I do have a few fragrances that feature Divana. It also has Tolu Balsam, and sorry, I slowed down because I have a really hard time saying Tolu Balsam. I got it that time though. Fantastic. Anyway, and that kind of, I think, is what gives it this slight smokiness. Like it's almost got a little bit of a smoky, marshmallowy, almondy kind of thing going on. Reminds me a little bit of Killian Princess, not exactly, but in the opening just a little bit. Not super smoky, just the tiniest touch, and it is sweet. I really like this fragrance. I think there's some orris root or butter in here as well. But yeah, my favorite one from House of Sillage. Not strong projection by any means, but it does stay on your skin for quite some time. Next I have one from Maison Lancome, and it is called Erie Dragees, and the juice is kind of pink, so I'm counting it for this video. This one I really, really enjoy. It's one of my favorites from the entire Maison Lancome line, and in addition to the iris, it has sort of like this like candied or like, you know, sugared almond type of note in here, which I really enjoy quite a bit. There's also some vanilla in here, and I think a touch of orange blossom or some sort of additional floral besides the iris. But this is just a beautiful, sweet, sort of gourmandy kind of iris fragrance to me. And yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites, if not my very favorite from the line. I also really like Lavandis Trianon, and another one. What's the other one that I really like? I don't remember now. But those two I definitely really, really like from this line. I will eventually do a video on this entire line, but for now, that one is one of my favorites. And last up, I have one that maybe is kind of pinkish. like a very light blush pink. This one is Santal blush from Tom Ford. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in this beautiful bottle anymore. It now comes in the kind of standard brown bottles. Sadly, this one's much prettier. But anyway, this is a sandalwood fragrance, of course, and that is the main note. But it is supported by some spices, a little bit of benzoin. There are some florals in here as well, and I think some cedar in addition to the sandalwood. But this one is just a really sexy fragrance. It's still probably my favorite sandalwood fragrance. I have a few that I really like. I am a fan of sandalwood, definitely. So if you are and you've never smelled this, I would recommend finding a decant of it. This is very expensive. Even at the discounters, a 50 ml is very expensive. So definitely sample it first, but I highly recommend it if you are a sandalwood lover like I am. So again, this is my last one, and it is Santal blush from Tom Ford. So those are my 9 pink or kind of sort of pink bottles from my collection. Thanks again to Terry for tagging me in this video and for creating it with some other great YouTubers. I will link Terry's video down below. She has a beautiful collection, and in her video she shares about her mother's battle with breast cancer, which I really appreciated her opening up about. Fortunately, her mother is fine now, so I'm happy to report that. I also personally have had a few people in my life who've battled breast cancer. My grandma when I was young, and luckily she beat it, and that was in the 80s before treatment was as good as it is now. And then also I have a good friend who's sadly in her 2nd round battling breast cancer. She beat it once and it was gone for a few years, and now it's back. So hopefully she will be okay. But anyway, it has affected my life for sure, and I know that because it is very common, it's probably affected a lot of your lives as well. Like I said, I will be donating any money that I make from this video through the month of October to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, or to another foundation if it seems like more of the money goes directly to research. But I will post a community announcement in my community tab when I make that donation, so you guys can see how much we raised. Do please share this with your friends and your family members, whoever you think might enjoy this video, or maybe just will be willing to watch it to help raise a little bit more money. You don't have to spend any money yourself, but at least if you watch it, that contributes a tiny bit to some breast cancer research. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.